Joanna Hogg's film The Souvenir follows Julie, a young woman swept into a relationship with an older man, Anthony. They visit the Wallace Collection and look at a favourite painting of his. They argue over art, they make love and go on holiday.
How sad Venice can be when you're on your own.
But something is different here. Anthony is a heroin addict, and his habit pushes him to do more and more things that put Julie at risk. Finally, she breaks off their relationship. Anthony seeks help and recovers. They rekindle their romance. He relapses and dies of an overdose. Drawing heavily on Hogg's own experiences with a previous partner, The Souvenir communicates a story about a toxic relationship while also mercilessly examining Hogg's substantial privilege and the nature of self-reflexive art about artists. It's a rich and beautiful film. It also marks a stark departure from Hogg's previous, very contained work. Her first three features each concern a single location which the characters barely leave: a villa in Tuscany, a cottage and the surrounding area in the Scilly Isles, a modern house in London. They're also straightforward in their approach to time, entirely linear films that unfold in a relatively tight time span. The Souvenir is firmly based in Julie's flat, but branches out to many different distinctive locations, in particular a fleeting and dreamlike trip to Venice. It also seems to have a more subjective timeline. Early in the film, while reading about Venice, a single shot of a church reflected in a puddle is shown. Later, the characters visit Venice, implying it to be a sort of flash forward. Likewise, letters between the lovers are read aloud throughout the film, over a shot of 5 trees on the horizon. Julie's world collapses down to the time that she shares with Anthony, everything revolving around him and her interactions with him. Her time at film school is mostly off-screen, Hogg instead following their conversations between takes. When time passes, it does so in fits and starts, the film taking place over roughly a year, but with very little indication of that. This is a massive departure from form for Hogg, or so it seems on first inspection. Recently I've begun to wonder if perhaps the film is told in a straight line, but from an unusual perspective. After Anthony's death, Julie returns to film school and makes a film she's been planning throughout this time. A camera pushes in on an actor, and as it does so, Hogg's camera pushes in on Julie, and she faces the frame. The next shot is almost black, steeped in shadow. As these doors open, we can see the view outside, a number of trees lined up on the horizon. Where Julie's standing, they'd probably look like this. My understanding is that the entirety of The Souvenir is a recollection from that moment in the story. It's Julie looking back at herself, at her relationship with Anthony. Their letters are reread in her mind while looking at this view. She recollects their trip to Venice when they read about it together before they actually do it. And the more intimate moments of the film, tea parties in bed, fucking in the dark, are memories, hazy and unmoored in time as they tend to be. Dotted throughout the film are little snippets of grainier footage capturing these particularly intense and important moments. These touches bring to mind Derek Jarman, who famously utilised Super 8 throughout his work, often to illustrate a private dreamscape, memory or image. Hogg met Jarman by chance, around the age that Julie is in the film. They talked and he loaned her a Super 8 camera of his. A film made with that camera got her into film school, and it's the source of some footage appearing in this film. These mixed formats aren't an empty stylistic choice, some of them are actually quite hard to spot, but instead a very personal connection with a medium that held emotional significance in the period of Hogg's life that she's portraying. The Souvenir, then, is non-linear but linear, an edited recollection from a later perspective. But of course that's true of the film itself as well, the artist reflecting back on herself, on her work, on her life, on a loss. That's the beauty of The Souvenir, and just a single reason why I think it's one of the best films of 2019.